I used to operate under the false assumption that individuals exhibiting high value were necessarily the most vocal personalities in a setting, the ones prone to ostentation, boasting the largest social media followings, or possessing the most substantial financial reserves. I was profoundly mistaken. Just last month, my perspective shifted dramatically after an encounter at a local coffee shop. I met a man who was quiet, unassuming, and dressed in a simple black t-shirt. Yet, there was an undeniable quality about him that was truly magnetic. People seemed naturally drawn into his orbit. The barista's face lit up as he placed his order, complete strangers initiated conversations with him, and even I found myself harboring a desire to linger, simply to remain within the sphere of his presence. It was at that precise moment that a profound realization dawned on me. I was witnessing authentic high-value conduct, not the superficial, performative version often displayed online, but the kind that has been contemplated and described by ancient philosophers for centuries. This was the sort of inherent value that organically cultivates genuine respect and admiration without any conscious effort to seek it. If you recognize merely 3 of these fundamental characteristics within yourself, you are already functioning at a level of personal mastery that the vast majority of people may never attain. And if you find that you don't yet possess these traits, please continue reading, as I am about to illuminate the specific path required to cultivate them deliberately. Let's delve into the true indicators of profound personal value. 1. You possess the capacity to shape the atmosphere in any setting. Here is a critical insight that many overlook concerning truly high-value individuals. They do not merely react to the prevailing energy of their surroundings, they actively generate it. Consider the impact. They can enter a tense, fraught meeting and introduce a palpable sense of calm. They can step into a dull or stagnant gathering and inject it with vitality and interest. Confronted by chaos or crisis, they instinctively become the serene eye at the center of the storm. This capability is not predicated on being the loudest or most dominant person, rather, it is a testament to a level of emotional regulation and inner composure so robust that it influences everyone in their vicinity, seemingly without effort. I witnessed this principle in action while observing my mentor handle a significant crisis at work. As panic rippled through the team, consuming everyone in its wake, he remained seated, deliberately took a deep, steadying breath, and calmly articulated, "All right, everyone, let's approach this systematically and logically, one step at a time." His tranquility was profoundly contagious. Within minutes, the entire dynamic of the room was transformed from disoriented chaos to focused, collaborative problem-solving. The Stoic philosophers understood this implicitly, referring to it, in part, as the discipline of desire, or assent, the mastery over your internal reactions and judgments so completely that external circumstances lose their power to disturb your inner equilibrium. As Epictetus, the formerly enslaved philosopher, taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you achieve mastery over your own emotional landscape, you spontaneously become a stabilizing and anchoring force for all those around you, a true thermostat rather than merely an emotional thermometer reflecting the ambient temperature. In practical terms, this means you are not easily triggered by other people's negative moods or behaviors, you resist the impulse to escalate conflicts, and you refrain from contributing to unnecessary drama. Instead, you naturally become the person that others instinctively turn to and rely upon when difficulties arise. 2. Your silence commands more attention than the utterances of others. In a world saturated with incessant noise and constant communication, the individual who has mastered the art of strategic, intentional silence wields astonishing power. High-value individuals grasp a fundamental truth. Every single word you choose to speak either enhances the value of the exchange or diminishes it. There is very little neutral ground. I observed this principle unfolding during a particularly heated family argument. While everyone else was shouting over one another in a cacophony of frustration, my uncle sat quietly, attentively listening to every word. After 20 minutes of escalating chaos, he finally spoke just one concise sentence. What ultimate outcome are we actually striving for here? The entire room fell silent instantly. That single, precisely timed question completely reframed the direction and purpose of the conversation. The great Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and round it the seething waters are laid to rest." This wisdom speaks directly to becoming that kind of steadfast presence. When you choose to speak less frequently but with significantly greater intention and deliberation, your words acquire exponentially more impact and gravitas. People begin to hang on to your every utterance because you have implicitly trained them that when you finally do speak, it carries weight and significance. Your deliberate silence creates necessary space for others to reveal their thoughts and feelings, and when your turn comes, your words land with the undeniable force of genuine, considered thought behind them. Unlike those who function as mere noise machines, filling the air with unnecessary chatter, high-value individuals are signal generators. They understand that in an era drowning in information overload, genuine attention is the ultimate valuable currency, and strategic silence is often the most effective way to earn it. 3. You have perfected the skill of productive suffering. This particular trait may initially sound counterintuitive, but bear with me. High-value individuals do not expend energy trying to avoid suffering or discomfort. Instead, they possess a rare ability to transform it into profound resilience and inner strength. While most people perceive discomfort as a problem to be eliminated immediately, high-value individuals perceive it as valuable information to be processed and as powerful fuel for personal growth and development. I once worked alongside a woman who had endured an astonishing amount of hardship, a bitter divorce, the devastating loss of her business, and a serious health scare. Life had undeniably dealt her a harsh hand. Yet, instead of succumbing to victimhood or bitterness, she deliberately utilized each setback as a rigorous masterclass in resilience and adaptation. She would often remark, with quiet determination, "Every single time life knocks me down, I make sure to get back up knowing something vital I didn't know before." The Stoics possessed a powerful concept known as amor fati, which translates to love of fate. This principle goes far beyond mere passive acceptance of what happens to you. It is an active, affirmative embrace of everything that occurs, viewing it as precisely what is necessary for your unique development and the practice of virtue. Marcus Aurelius also wrote, "The impediment to action advances action." What stands in the way becomes the way. When you cultivate the capacity for productive suffering and embrace amor fati, you become truly unbreakable at your core. People instinctively sense this deep reservoir of inner strength and resilience, and they are naturally drawn to it. You become someone that others trust implicitly to navigate difficulty with grace, wisdom, and unwavering composure. 4. Your source of validation originates solely within yourself. Herein lies a common misunderstanding regarding genuine confidence. Many believe that highly valued individuals simply don't care about anyone else's opinion. The reality is more nuanced. High-value individuals have simply made a conscious and deliberate choice about whose opinion truly matters, and that ultimate source is themselves, not in an arrogant or self-absorbed manner, but in a deeply grounded, self-aware fashion. They have invested the time and effort to develop such an exceptionally clear and robust sense of their own intrinsic values, principles, and standards that external validation or disapproval simply becomes irrelevant background noise. I have a close friend who famously declined a significant promotion because accepting it would have required him to compromise his core ethical principles and integrity. Practically everyone he knew thought he was utterly irrational. More money, a better title, increased social status. Why would he possibly say no? His response struck me deeply and resonated with Stoic wisdom. I would genuinely rather be unemployed and maintain my respect for myself than have a job that forces me to become someone I don't recognize or respect. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who experienced life as a slave and understood the true nature of freedom better than many free men, articulated this perfectly: no one can hurt you without your permission. High-value individuals maintain an internal scorecard. They measure their success not by superficial societal metrics or external approval, but strictly by their own deeply held standards and values. Their primary question to themselves is perpetually, am I living in accordance with my fundamental values and principles, rather than anxiously wondering, what will other people think of this? When you cease seeking external validation and anchor your worth internally, something truly transformative and magnetic occurs. Your confidence becomes unequivocally real and authentic, not merely a performance, and this genuineness is powerfully attractive to others. 5. You strategically employ indifference. This is arguably the most frequently misunderstood concept associated with Stoicism, and it represents a significant differentiator between truly high-value individuals and the general populace. Strategic indifference is emphatically not about a general lack of caring, it is about caring selectively and intelligently. It is the conscious practice of investing your finite emotional energy and attention only in those areas where it has the potential to create positive outcomes or is aligned with your values and actions. This concept aligns closely with the Stoic division of control, focusing diligently on what is up to us, our judgments, desires, intentions, actions, and treating things not up to us, external events, other people's opinions, outcomes, with a level of rational indifference, known as preferred or dispreferred indifference. I absorbed this crucial lesson through personal experience, often the hard way. I used to allow myself to become agitated and consumed by virtually everything: politics, the choices of strangers, situations entirely beyond my sphere of influence. I was perpetually exhausted, constantly frustrated, and always engaged in battles I could not possibly win. Then, I met someone who epitomized strategic indifference. Faced with terrible traffic, he would simply shrug and utilize the unexpected delay to listen to an enriching podcast. Confronted by rude customer service, he would remain perfectly calm, focusing solely on the objective of resolving the issue at hand. When people gossiped about him, he literally refused to engage or react in any way. As he wisely explained, "I only possess a finite amount of energy each day. I am going to ensure I spend it exclusively on things I can genuinely influence or that align with my purpose." 6. Your presence has the effect of elevating others. Here is a characteristic that is seldom discussed but is profoundly significant. Truly high-value individuals function as human catalysts or upgrades for those around them. When others spend time in their company, they tend to leave feeling more capable, more inspired, and more deeply connected to their own inherent potential. This effect isn't the result of giving motivational speeches or acting as an unsolicited life coach. It stems from embodying a set of high personal standards and living with such integrity that it naturally elevates the aspirations and energy of everyone in their orbit. I have a mentor who possesses this quality effortlessly. After every conversation I have with him, I find myself spontaneously wanting to read more, work harder, and be more thoughtful and virtuous in my own life. He rarely lectures or offers unsolicited advice. He simply lives with such clarity of purpose and integrity that it inspires you to rise and match his energy. The Stoics believed in the principle of sympatheia, the profound idea that we are all interconnected parts of a single cosmic whole, and consequently, our individual actions and dispositions ripple outwards, inevitably affecting others. High-value individuals take this inherent responsibility seriously. Consider this: when you walk into a room, do people seem to stand a little straighter? Do conversations naturally become more interesting or meaningful? Do people generally leave feeling better about themselves and their possibilities after interacting with you? This dynamic isn't about striving for unattainable perfection. It is about being so fundamentally growth-oriented and rooted in virtue that your very being grants others implicit permission and inspiration to pursue their own growth. 7. You have transcended the need to win. This is the ultimate, perhaps most subtle, hallmark of profound personal value, and it is so exceptionally rare that many people fail to even recognize it when they encounter it. High-value individuals have moved decisively beyond the need to always be right, to win every argument, or to constantly prove their perceived superiority over others. They have discovered something far more potent and liberating: the profound ability to sincerely seek truth and create genuine value, entirely regardless of who ultimately receives the credit or public acknowledgement. I witnessed this principle beautifully demonstrated during a complex business negotiation. While most participants were locked in a competitive struggle to dominate the conversation and claim ownership of the best ideas, one individual consistently refocused the discussion by simply asking, what solution would genuinely work best for everyone involved in this situation? He wasn't driven by the need to win the negotiation for himself. He was genuinely focused on identifying the optimal collective outcome. Predictably, guess who everyone involved subsequently wanted to collaborate with and trust? This perfectly exemplifies the Stoic application of preferred indifference. Winning, securing a specific outcome, or receiving credit might be a preferred indifferent, something desirable if it aligns with virtue and circumstance, but it is not essential to one's inner well-being, sense of self, or intrinsic value. What truly matters, in the Stoic view, is excellence of character and the integrity of the effort applied. When you truly transcend the ego-driven need to win external battles, you become fundamentally unbeatable, not because you dominate others, but because you have achieved mastery in the only true competition that holds lasting significance, the ongoing pursuit of becoming a better version of your former self. Begin your journey with just one trait. Select the one that resonated most deeply with you, the one that feels like both a challenge and an invitation, and commit to focusing on cultivating it deliberately for the next 30 days. Do not feel compelled to attempt a complete personal transformation all at once. The Stoics advocated for gradual, consistent, and sustainable progress built through daily practice. If, as you were reading this, one or more of these characteristics struck a deep chord within you, perhaps feeling like a direct acknowledgement of your current state or a powerful call towards your potential, I invite you to drop the word "undeniable" in the comments below. Let us acknowledge how many of us are quietly walking a path of inherent power and value, perhaps without fully recognizing it ourselves. And if you are consciously engaged in the work of cultivating these qualities and striving to embody this kind of profound personal value, feel free to declare on the path. This isn't merely a comment section. It is a space for connection and shared aspiration towards a life of greater meaning and virtue. I will be reading every single one.